Right, spoon. So we've got our bit of wood, which is just here, and we're going to saw a bit to length and axe it out, axe the blank out. We'll start with a bit of straight wood, and we'll try and have it nice and clean, so no knots. So we'll cut it out there. That's longer than we need. If you make it too long than you need, then A, you're wasting wood, and B, when you cleave it, you're risking it going off in the direction that you don't want.
Right.
So again, it's one of those compromise things. Obviously, that was explained brilliantly, Barnaby. Well done. What I'm trying to say is, you give yourself a bit of leeway, but if you give yourself too much leeway, then you're going to have more wood to remove. So, let's go and cleave it over there. Ola, have you got that flat bit of metal?
Yeah.
I don't know what you call it. Can I just borrow that for a second?
Here.
Are you using it?
No.
Right, okay. So, our spoon is going to be made out of this. This is what we call round wood, because it's round, okay? If you're looking at the end, you can see the growth rings.
Yeah.
So, this length here, when it shrinks, won't alter very much at all. So
Right.
this bit of wood is made out of fibres going along, and those fibres won't really shorten that much.
Right.
In terms of looking at it from the end grain and the rings, if you imagine along the length of the ring, the perimeter, the circumference of the ring, that is going to shrink more that way along the length of the ring
Yeah.
than it will across. Okay. Now I can't remember the percentages. I think one's about 7% and one's about 10%. Okay. So it's quite a big difference. And actually, we use this for the chair making. So if we make a rung out of a bit of wood there, if you cleave a bit of wood out, split it out, make it perfectly round, when it dries, because it shrinks more that way than that way,
Yeah.
it will actually end up oval,
Ah.
which you can use to your advantage, but that's a whole different story.
Yeah.
So for the now, all I'm trying to explain really is that actually along the length of these rings, it shrinks quite a lot.
Yeah.
And because of that, a huge amount of tension is put in. And if you leave this in the round, when it dries, it will probably split.
Right.
Because those rings are trying to shrink, but because they're connected to each other, they can't. So we need to release that tension by cleaving it, okay?
Right. So that's the reason why you split a spoon. Brilliant.
Definitely. All wood needs to be split, really. The only stuff you use in the round would be hazel rods or willow or something like that.
Yeah.
So, to split it, to cleave it, a controlled split along the length, you want to use a blunt tool, really. And if you're doing fire logs, you'd use an axe like this. It's very blunt. Quite a steep wedge, bulky wedge, whatever you call that, you know what I mean. Another tool you can use is a froe. This isn't a froe, but it looks a bit like it. So you have a flat, blunt blade with a handle normally coming up like that, and you can whack it in and then control the split going down it. So a froe is for very controlled split. For the now, I think we'll just whack an axe through it. Okay. So at home, if I was by myself and I was feeling foolhardy and I had loads of bits of wood next to me, I'd just get the axe and whack it through like that. But I don't want to cock it up right in front of the camera, so I'm going to hold it exactly over the pith. And
We have a mallet. Oh, where is it? You know the wooden hitty mallets. Where have we got? Oh, that'll do it, won't it?
that'll do.
Yeah.
So we've got our mallet, and I'm going to use this axe, and I'm going to split it down the middle, trying to find a nice clean bit. If you do it through the pith, it'll split more easily. There might be a knot on one side. There's a bit of a scar of a knot there.
Yeah.
So all I'm thinking is going a little bit ahead of myself, but I'm thinking, right, if the bowl of the spoon will be there and the handle will be here, that it doesn't matter so much if there's a knot right on the side there, because in the end it's going to be cut out.
Yeah.
Or if I've got one perfect side and one with a great big knot on, I'll do it so I get rid of the whole of the knot.
Yeah.
Okay, so there's a lot of finer kind of details that you'd get after a while, but basically I'm going to get an axe and split this bit of wood in half.
All right.
Okay, so like I said, you could just whack it through, but I'm just going to hold it in place and then use my mallet and hit it. Incidentally, when you're using an axe block, in terms of safety, if you're splitting large bits of wood with a large axe, the longer the handle, the safer it is. Okay, because you whack it down, and if you miss what you're going to hit, you're not going to, with a short axe, if you missed, you might miss and then go right into your leg, whereas the long one's going to go straight into the ground or the block. So that's the kind of safety you're looking for, so you don't want the axe to go into you. So really you want to use the far side of a block. Okay, so if I was stood here, I wouldn't do it here, so if I missed it would go into me. I'd do it there, so if I missed I'd go into the block. Okay, so those are worth thinking about. And you can see now that I will move my body to the side as well, so the axe can go through. Okay, so whack that through. Incidentally, wood cleaves a lot nicer when it's green. Okay, so if it was dry wood, it would be harder to cleave down the grain. And just tap that through. Right, that's not gone beautifully in half like we would have hoped. It's interesting, you can see a bit of a twist in the grain as well.
Oh yeah.
So you can see that spiral a little bit.
Yeah.
Those are the kind of things that we can use to our advantage or try and work out with a bit of wood.
So which bit are you going to use? That's quite a twisty bit, isn't it?
Yeah, let's use that bit.
You reckon you can make a twisty spoon?
Yeah, why not?
Mm-hmm.
Okay, so that would be a kind of left-handed spoon because that's twisting in. So if that was the bowl of
Oh,
the
I
spoon.
see. So you're going to use the twist to make the spoon into
Yeah.
a certain type. Brilliant, brilliant.
Yeah. Okay. Now, one reason why it's absolutely fine using this bit, and this is why I was saying earlier that we need a bit of wood that's bigger than the size of the spoon, is because when I was talking about the shrinkage, most of that tension, if you can imagine those rings shrinking, the smaller the ring, the more tension there's going to be. So if we get rid of actually the middle bit of wood, okay, the pith is right there. If you get rid of those first 2 or 3 growth rings, then the bits of wood either side are going to be much better for it.
So in actual fact, that smaller bit is better for shrinkage and splitting.
Yeah, because I don't have to axe off. Whereas if I was using this bit, I'd have to axe off the pith.
Yeah, gotcha. Okay.
Okay, so now we need to start shaping it. And I just start with a very simple shape, I think. So we flatten off the front face of the top of the bowl of the spoon, and I am removing a little bit of the twist. Okay. Now when you're using the axe, you can do a few stop cuts on the way up. Okay, and I'm going in at quite an angle there, and then to clear those, I lift a bit of wood up a bit more.
All right.
So the key bit to that is that instead of moving the angle of the axe, instead of axing in like that and then coming down like that, I'm axing in the same manner each time and then moving the bit of wood to change the angle.
Right.
Okay? So again, you want to be working on the other side of the block for safety, so if you miss, you're going into the block instead of missing and going into your leg. You can work to the side of your body so that if you do go all the way through, you're not going to be going into yourself. Okay. Another thing you do is when you're working, don't put your thumb right where the blade will come down. Okay, which sounds obvious.
And you're not going to give a demonstration of that, are you?
No. But it sounds obvious, but a lot of people will be acting like this and they've got their thumb just dangling there and they're working their way up, and you can just glance it coming down.
Yeah.
So if you can, hold it all the way down and don't really work much past halfway. Okay? So, just flattening off the front a little bit. And if we say this is going to be our bowl here, we'll just crank the handle a tiny bit, which means just putting the bowl a little bit lower down than the handle. Okay?
The chickens, for some reason, are trying to eat the wood chips.
They'll do that.
Yeah.